I'm here to talk about the two films, Notturno and The Man Who Sold His Skin. So I'm gonna start from the questions 1 to 6. Um, yeah. So the films. In The Man Who Sold His Skin, we see Sam Ali get arrested for shouting out loud on a bus something like "Revolution, we want freedom," and someone on the bus records him and reports him to the police. This scene is supposed to exemplify or show how truly authoritarian the Syrian state is. The individuals in the Syrian state cannot express themselves freely if it goes against the government, you know? So whatever goes against the current regime, they will be punished for it. And other people also suck up to that system too, even though they're on the same rank as other citizens. It's not like a higher up reporting a lower down, you know? Another scene is from Notturno, where a child and his father are smoking a hookah. It's interesting because the hookah bubbles sound so similar to gunshots. So at first you kind of hear gunshots and you think it's like the hookah, but then you hear the hookah and you're like, oh, it's just the hookah. There's nothing going on. But then you hear gunshots, and you see the juxtaposition, the interplay that they're having. They're showing the hookah bubbles and the gunshots and how they're so interchangeable. They're exactly the same sounds, and it's just so normal to them. Like the son and the father don't really flinch. They just take it as normality. And that's unfortunate. That shouldn't be the case, but it is. So it's just crazy to see like the daily lives. Like these people are so used to the warfare that's right on their doorstep that they just ignore it and they think it's just like the hookah they're smoking. The next question, what emotions or struggles stood out to you the most? The ones that really stood out the most would have to be in The Man Who Sold His Skin. Sam struggled with his love life. Sam, in the beginning, he loves his love interest. He's having a splendid time. He's not afraid to show it. But over time in the movie, as we see his sadness because his love interest is with another man, he hasn't spent time with her. He's trying to get back with her, but she's not reciprocating, and she's busy. She's married to another man. We see kind of his descent into like a sort of a depression. He's sad. He's grueling. He's reflecting on the past. He's sad. He wants to get back with his love interest, but his love interest can't really give him back the same love. And her husband is always on her back, and she knows what Sam is trying to do. So it's an interesting interplay, and we see over time how the relationship gets strained. Sam Ali tries so hard to win back the favor from his love interest, but she can't because she's stuck in that marriage. And eventually she does break out of it, and they do get back together. Another emotion or struggle that kind of stood out to me was when the woman and the Kurdish mothers, they were really truly grieving for their dead sons. This was in Notturno. You can really feel the sadness and the grimness that these Kurdish mothers had because they had lost their sons in whatever that they had lost them in. And it's just and the woman is looking at the photos of her dead son, I believe. That is so gripping and horroring for a mother. The photo she's looking at is not a photo of her smiling children that's dead. It's the photo of his dead body on the ground. And she doesn't really express the emotion, but you can feel the sadness in the silence that she kind of holds in that moment. In The Man Who Sold His Skin, how does the main character navigate the dangers and challenges around him? And what does this reveal about life for refugees in conflict zones? So honestly, he navigates it pretty well. He gets lucky. And he acts smartly as well. I have to give him credit. In the movie, he gets put in jail because of expressing, revolution, freedom. But after that, he escapes very quickly, thinking on his feet, and he has the bright idea because he knows the Syrian state is going to be looking for him. So he has the bright idea of just leaving to Lebanon and living his life there and escaping Syria because he doesn't want the Syrian state to chase him down for his treason that he may have committed with his freedom of expression. So he leaves and he has a better life in Lebanon. Well, not amazing, but he has a better life than he would have in Syria. And then he's approached by an artist, and he is given the opportunity of a lifetime. It is a tattoo on his back that he has to get, but he gets to live a somewhat lavish lifestyle. And he gets to go to Europe and maybe see his love interest in Belgium, which is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's literally perfect. He takes it, and maybe he doesn't think through of what it will do to his image and how it will restrict his life, but he does it because he wants to have that opportunity again with his love interest, Abir. And honestly, this reveals a lot about refugees in conflict zones. How willing they are to sell their dignity, just to get a taste of the better life, the finer things in life. They want to leave their conflict zones to go explore a better life for themselves in Europe, in America. They're going to sacrifice so much to have the opportunity to have a better life. So, we see how willing Sam is to do that, how willing he's to let go of his dignity of being presented his back to the whole world with tattoos on his back, just for an opportunity to get back with his love interest and to explore a better life than in the Middle East. In Notturno, which scenes or stories impacted you the most, and how do they illustrate the resilience or suffering of civilians? So the scenes or stories, like the Kurdish mothers comes back to mind because, like, especially you see and feel these Kurdish mothers. You don't understand their language, but they're grieving for their kids. They are so distraught over their children that they just grieve and grieve, and you can feel the sadness, especially in the silence, and especially when the mother is looking at the photos of her dead child. You can see that whatever conflicts happened, it doesn't matter, because the bigger picture is that these mothers have lost their children. They've lost their loved ones. They've lost their husbands to war. That is the main idea that this scene is especially trying to get across, is that no matter what had happened, it's not important to know what happened or what transpired. The fact is that these people are grieving over the loved ones that they lost and that they could have had with them up to that point. So it's very mind-boggling to think about that. Like, we don't look at the war because it just doesn't matter in this context. And this shows how resilient these people are in these conflict zones. They have almost lost, like, everything. They've lost their loved ones. A lot of them have lost their body, or like their limbs, but they still stay on the course forward, looking through. They need to keep going. They will grieve. They will remember the ones they lost, but they have to keep going. They have to keep fighting, because even though that they are in the worst zones on earth, they have to stay alive, and they have to continue to remember the ones they lost. So it's very interesting to see these scenes. Another scene, I guess, that impacted me greatly was I'm trying to think, the Kurdish female fighters. The fact that these Kurdish freedom fighters, whatever they may be, I think they're freedom fighters for the Kurdish independence movement. They're women fighting, so you wouldn't expect that in an army or an army platoon. You would expect men, but these are a full force of women fighting. It shows how these women probably have lost a lot of the male figures in their village or in their nation or in their town, so they had to take up arms and they had to fight for their sovereignty. So it's crazy to see, like, the ways that they will get to, like the extent that they're gonna get to seek their sovereignty and fight for their independence, that they won't stay home or stay out of the firefight. They're going to compete in it, and they're going to risk their lives. It shows how resilient they are, how the situation changes what they do in their situations, and now they're on the front lines, and now they're fighting for what the men were fighting for before. So it's really crazy to see the resilience from these different civilians. How do these films help you understand the human impact of wars? Honestly, as I said before, they don't even go into depth about what the wars are, and this just shows you how important, how non-important the reason for these wars start. It's the effects that they have on the people. And the man who sold his skin, we see what the war does to the people, to the state, how the state becomes more authoritative and more controlling, and makes people, less support each other and less trust each other, because everyone is out for themselves. No one can come together to trust each other. We see in Notturno what it does to everyone: the Kurdish mothers, the Kurdish freedom fighters, the father and his son, the father in the house with his family, the guy on the street, the guy on the motorcycle by himself, isolated. We see what these wars do to people. It's not about the numbers and how many people died and why it was fought, but we see what it does to their lives on the human individualistic level. We see what's gripping about it and why it's so bad, and what it does to these people. It changes their lives for the worst most of the time. The only ones profiteering off of this are the major powers, not even, or my bad, the companies, the capitalism, these movements to make more money, resources extraction. Even the leaders of these countries end up with the worst of fates. Saddam Hussein is a good example. Bashar just got kicked out. So it's really interesting to think that no one wins in these types of situations. The human impact is very real, and we get to see a direct limelight into those lives in each of these conflicts as we go around Syria, Iraq, Kurdistan, Turkey in Notturno. So it's very interesting to see that view. The final question: if you were to tell someone about the experience of people affected by conflict, what key points would you highlight from these films? So some of the key points I would highlight is the theme of doing whatever it takes to survive. Again, we see this in The Man Who Sold His Skin. We see that no matter what, some refugees are willing to sell their entire dignity just to have a better life. And it makes sense. We can't blame them. Their conditions are not very ideal. They want a taste of freedom. They want a taste of the finer things in life. So they're going to give up themselves, sell their skin just to gain another chance, another opportunity to truly live like us in the free world have the opportunity to do. Another theme that's explored with Notturno, we see how war has left behind the horrors of the past. As I said before, it doesn't matter what the war was fought for, but the horrors it leaves behind, the memories that it destroys, the memories that it leaves behind, and the gripping horrors that these people have to deal with on a daily basis. The desensitization to war has occurred on a massive scale with these people. They're used to it. Families die. Families are removed from the face of the earth. Family members are removed day by day, and they have to adapt. They have to survive. They have to remember that. And some of them have to fight to take revenge on those family members that they lost. So it's an endless cycle of people dying and revenge taking and killing and dying and remembering and sadness. It doesn't get any better with any of the wars, no matter for what reason that they may occur. Another theme connected to this is that these conflicts are not just inside borders, they're across borders. In Notturno, especially, in Syria, in The Man Who Sold His Skin, it's not only in Syria that he suffers these problems with his identity and his dignity as a Syrian refugee, as a member of his country, as a member of his nationality. It's in Belgium, when all of these white people are trying to auction him off and trying to buy him. He feels his dignity is taken away, so he takes back his dignity by shouting and causing a scene, making them all flee from him. And even in Lebanon, in Notturno, it's more apparent there. We see how across Kurdistan, Turkey, Syria, Iraq, all of these conflicts are common. It's not just different groups of people, it's across all the borders. We see these wrecked towns in different environments, showing that these conflicts and wars have touched all of the region, all of the neighboring countries and nationalities, neighboring villages and towns and cities. These wars have been fought for pointless reasons, and look at the extent that and the damage that it has caused to the people living in those towns and cities, just wanting to live a better life. So we really get to see the reality of these people caused, that the true reality caused by these pointless conflicts. Those are my answers. Hopefully that was enough. Thank you. See you next time.